And I want everybody to know that it is so, so possible. And this is why I'm sharing it. And this is why I'm sharing so openly, is because we are told and we are dismissed and we're told this is the only way and you can't because you're so old. And like, no one is listening to people saying like, it can happen still.
When my heart stops, not a second sooner, I'm gonna finish what I've begun. 'Cause my heart's got a reason to believe in me in a dream and whatever may come. And as long as I'm breathing, I'll keep believing that I'm not done until my heart stops.
Hi everyone, it's Beth, your favorite therapist, or at least I hope I am, and host of Quiet the Clock. I am so excited to share the secret of my glowing skin with all of you. Lumine Face Pro. This amazing device has completely transformed my skin, and I've noticed a real difference in tone and texture in such a short amount of time. Lumine Face Pro uses advanced microcurrent technology to gently stimulate your facial muscles, promoting collagen production and improving skin elasticity. I mean, amazing. The device is also equipped with LED light therapy, which helps reduce wrinkles and fine lines and promotes cell regeneration. Hello, so perfect for this 43-year-old mama. I need every ounce of this. With regular use, Lumine Face Pro can help you achieve a smoother, brighter, and more even skin tone. It's so easy to use and safe on any skin type. Invest in your skin and experience the difference with Lumine Face Pro. Visit blumine.com today to learn more and order yours. Use the code QTC at checkout to get $30 off your first order. I mean, what a deal. $30 off your first order. I hope you guys run to blumine.com and get yours and love it as much as I do.
So I've been keeping a very big secret that will not be so secret by the time that this airs, but as of this coming Monday, I will be 5 months pregnant, which for me is still really scary to share and say out loud because of everything that I've been through. But I thought it was really important to do an episode where I talk about my fertility journey in entirety so we can hear everything kind of as it unfolded in one spot, in one episode. What I want to be very clear about from the beginning is that this was a natural pregnancy, is a natural pregnancy. I am 44 years old, and I'm very proud to be able to say that it's possible at this age when there is so much messaging out there that it is not possible. So just to back up, I froze my eggs at 37, and you guys can check out the earlier episodes of season 1. I talk a lot about that experience and that journey of freezing my eggs. Very emotional, very taxing. I made the decision to do that to kind of have this insurance policy, and there's so much debate on whether or not that's actually insurance policy. And what I'll say and what you'll learn from this episode, for me, those eggs did nothing for me. I had a successful experience with egg freezing in terms of the number of eggs that I got. So I did that at 37. At 39, I got pregnant naturally and had my son at 40, who is now 4 years old, and the biggest blessing. And I have been very open about sort of this misalignment with my partner in terms of like timeline of children. And that was another hard conversation for us to decide whether or not to grow our family. So it took us a little time to get back on the same page with that, to have those conversations. So at the time I'm 42, and it's really interesting because as I share my fertility journey, everybody asks me, did you think about trying naturally? And if I'm being really honest, I did not think about trying naturally. I did sort of succumb to the narratives of timeline and thinking about my age and thinking about I'm 42 and I have these 37-year-old eggs. I just jumped into IVF. I naturally assumed that 37-year-old eggs would be better than 42-year-old eggs. So I decided to go that route. So we thawed my eggs, we fertilized my eggs. We were very successful there too. I'm always very hesitant to talk about numbers because it can make people feel bad. There can be a lot of comparisons. So I really will just say, like, we were happy with the outcome. We were successful with the outcome. And so we moved forward with our first transfer at the same clinic where I froze my eggs. that was a really horrible experience. And I have a lot of horrible experiences with fertility doctors and fertility clinics throughout my almost 2 years of secondary infertility. I was not communicated with. I didn't meet with a doctor ever. I always say when I tell a story, I could walk by the doctor that did my transfer. I couldn't tell you who it was. I never spoke to a doctor. Everything felt very unclear. And I think this is important to mention because what I did in that experience was abandon my own intuition. It did not feel right. I did not feel comfortable. I felt confused along the way. I didn't have quick questions answered. But I think I was so stuck on, I want this and I want this now, and the timeline and the age gap that I was just like, I'm just going to push forward with it. One thing that happened in that transfer, other than feeling really unclear and really uncomfortable, was a few days prior to my transfer, the only thyroid level they test is your TSH, and mine was high. Mine was at a 2.94. They usually want it at 2.5. They reassured me that that would be fine. They threw me on levothyroxine and just like called it a day and didn't answer any of my questions. Everything I've learned through my journey, I never would have went ahead with that transfer. And this is what's so frustrating and devastating about the fertility world, is that it's very reactive. There is not a lot of things that we're doing or doctors are doing preventatively before we transfer to learn, help our odds, optimize our odds for success in fertility treatment. So that transfer was unsuccessful. It didn't even implant. And that was particularly devastating for me because I just did not expect that. I literally had told myself, I got pregnant naturally 39. My body is built for this. I'm like, I defy the odds in terms of age. I just assumed it was going to work. So that transfer failed, didn't even implant. Because of the experience that I had, I switched clinics. I went through sort of the headache of transferring my embryos, which is daunting and anxiety provoking. And I found myself at the fertility doctor that I was with for, I would say, a bulk of my fertility journey. We did a second transfer that was successful. The embryo implanted. Very excited. So I thought, okay, this is it. We've done it. I'm successfully pregnant. This is the end of the road. Little did I know, it was very much the start. That transfer ended in miscarriage at 7.5 weeks. We went to our second ultrasound, which was the heartbeat ultrasound, and there was no heartbeat, which was devastating. I mean, I think I've like kind of dissociated from it because I'm so focused on where I am now, but really traumatizing. I know there's a lot of women probably listening that have been through that, and they know what that experience is like. And the thing too is like being in this fertility journey, it's like there's no time to process because you're just really on to the next thing. So I kind of just decided I didn't want a DNC. I let my body do its own thing. I was totally misinformed on what that experience would be like. My doctor told me it would be like having a heavy period. It was not. And once I was through that, my mentality was kind of on to the next, let's keep going. So after that miscarriage was when I finally got a full thyroid panel run, which I think is so criminal that we're not doing that ahead of the game, that we're not running a full thyroid panel before you even do a transfer. So what was discovered after that first miscarriage through finally more extensive testing was that my thyroid antibodies were through the roof and I had Hashimoto's. I never knew anything about Hashimoto's. I literally knew nothing about like the function of a thyroid or the importance of thyroid in fertility. I had my fertility doctor look at me and say, I promise you, your thyroid has nothing to do with this miscarriage. And of course you kind of trust the doctors, but I feel really grateful that I did start to pay attention to my own intuition and gut feelings. And I started doing my own research. So I started working with a hormone specialist, where we did a bunch more holistic testing, did gut analysis, hair mineral test. We found a lot of things from that, and she called them healing opportunities. But it was completely overwhelming to be doing all this testing and always have something come back, like through the roof or off or in the red, and realizing I'm really not that healthy. Like aesthetically, I looked healthy. I thought I ate well. I thought I took care of myself, but my body was failing me in so many ways. And all these tests were revealing so many things that were not optimized or working in the way they should in my body. So that started a series of a healing journey of finding my own resources, of supplementation. And yes, supplements work for all those that say it doesn't. Lifestyle changes, getting rid of toxins, changing my diet, going gluten-free and dairy-free. This was all stuff I did on my own. And then my fertility doctor, again, had assured me my thyroid had nothing to do with it. I would ask her questions about supplements. She didn't really have answers to that. And it was a lot of work on my own to kind of find these answers and start working on these things. All the while, I'm watching like the age gap between my son and a potential second child keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Obviously, so much emotion, so much anxiety, so much frustration. We decided to proceed with IUIs and not go back to a transfer right away. So we did 2 IUIs. Both were successful. Both ended in miscarriage at 6 weeks. And all the while I'm researching, I'm reading, I'm finding functional medicine doctors. I'm just trying, desperate for answers. I'm desperate for somebody to like help me. And there were so many people that helped me along the way. But when I tell you it was like piecemeal, like one person helped me with one thing, one person changed the thing the one person did. And it really was months and months and months to finally find the right combination of things that were helping me. In terms of my thyroid and Hashimoto's, I stayed on levothyroxine from November of 2023 till August of 2024 when I met with my first functional medicine doctor. And in that span, I had a failed transfer and 3 miscarriages. And when I finally got to that functional medicine doctor, he told me, this is the absolute wrong medication for you. So for a lot of people in the fertility world, like if that number, it's so prescriptive. So if that thyroid level is high, the only one that they check, the TSH, they put you on levothyroxine. There is no other like testing or digging, nothing. It's prescriptive. This is your number. This is the medication. Well, I found out almost a year later that it wasn't the right medication for me. So I finally got on MP thyroid. Through work with a second doctor, MP thyroid wasn't even the right medication for me. So I finally got on Armour thyroid. So it's just, I'm saying all this to say it was like a journey of investigative work to figure out what was the right thing for me. In November, I had a natural pregnancy, ended in miscarriage. And that was the point with this fertility doctor that I was like, I have to try something new. She was wonderful in terms of bedside manner and answering our questions and taking her time, which I really valued and appreciated. But she was limited in kind of her scope. And I really needed someone to start to look outside the box with me because I just didn't fall in any categories. Like I had gotten pregnant naturally. I had gotten pregnant through IVF. But I couldn't keep any of these pregnancies. And there was no other avenue she was going down to like figure out what that was, or what was going on. So I moved to another doctor who did way more extensive testing. We did a whole immunological workup. And in the fertility space, there's a lot of debate on the value of immunological protocols. It has obviously worked for me, but I just felt I needed more and I needed someone to look outside the box. And I switched doctors. Oh, I'm sorry. I did one more transfer with the previous fertility doctor that also failed. At this point, we're down to 2 embryos. We have, have had 0 success. And so that's when I switched doctors. And I will say this clinic was a horrible experience. I'm not going to say too much about it right now because for a lot of reasons, one day I will when I can, and I'm legally advised on what I'm allowed to say. I will say they did help look outside the box and were willing to do things that other doctors were not. And I was waiting to transfer. I got pregnant naturally again in April. I was geared up to do another retrieval because the way the timeline of the fertility, it was panning out, I wasn't going to be able to transfer in April. And I was like, this feels like a waste of time. Again, for me also, as much as I talk about time and breaking down societal timelines and pressure, I'm susceptible to it too. And I was feeling like, well, to do nothing in April is such a waste of time. And so I was going to do another retrieval. When I went for my first monitoring appointment, I had half the follicles that I had the month before. My FSH was way too high, and he wanted to put me on birth control. I'm like, this feels completely wrong. And where I'm really proud, I'm proud of myself in so many areas of this journey, but what I'm really proud of is, one, I pushed and advocated so hard for myself. And two, I really started to listen to my gut intuition. And when I felt like that didn't feel comfortable right anymore, it was really easy for me to say no to that. So I decided not doing the retrieval in April. I took a couple vacations, I did a retreat, and I got pregnant. And I got the positive pregnancy test the Friday before Mother's Day. I created this whole story in my head, like, oh my gosh, this is how the journey ends. This is so amazing. Right before Mother's Day, this feels so different. I told myself all these stories. And I went to do my first beta on Saturday. It looked good. On Monday, it did not. And this is where the whole breakdown with this clinic happened, which was horrible, abusive. Again, I'll get into that at another time. And that was my breaking point. That miscarriage, that fifth miscarriage was my breaking point. You have one miscarriage and you tell yourself, I don't know how I'll ever go through that again. And then you have another, and then you have another, and then you have another, and you just can't even fathom. Like, I still can't even, I have so much grief to process, and I still can't even wrap my head around that this has been my journey. But I keep saying it, like, the resiliency of women is just absolutely incredible. And what we're really capable of when we're pushed to it is unbelievable. I mean, no one wants to be here, but I'm inspired and impressed by so many women that are in this space constantly. And it's interesting. I tried to control everything for so long. I tried to control the outcome. I tried to control the timeline. I tried to control in all these areas of like what I ate and the supplements I took, and none of it worked. None of it worked. Like, trying to grasp so hard onto control and focusing on all the things that I can control and do, and what would make me successful and what would be helpful. Like, yes, some of it helped, but what it really did was sacrifice my mental health. I was in such a bad place that, it was that last miscarriage was rock bottom for me. That was really, really difficult. And it surprised me because I'm like, well, I've been through this 4 times before. Like, why is this one so hard? And I've been working with someone super, super incredible that we're going to be interviewing literally today and later today. And she literally said, she's like, you needed this to bring you to your knees. And so after that miscarriage, I completely surrendered. I was like, I'm letting go of control. I give this up to God, universe, whoever. Like, I can't anymore. And I did a lot of work there, a lot of work on releasing, a lot of work on surrendering. I did Gabby Bernstein's 21-day Trust the Universe. I poured everything into that. I let go of being so rigid with the diet. I let go of like being so anxious about the timeline. I really surrendered. And I was waiting, to my period to start so we could go into our next transfer. And I will share this piece. I don't know. I think it's important, but I don't know. My partner and I we have a son. In the beginning of this journey, we wanted another son. We had the option because we knew the gender of these embryos to choose, obviously along the way. And, whatever, I don't give a fuck if anyone has a problem with that. That's part of our story and part of our journey. But where we ended up, we were only left with girl embryos. And, we both were, healthy and fine and whatever. But that's just to say we create these visions for what we want and what we desire. And when it doesn't pan out that way, that's part of the grief. And I know it's going to be controversial and choosing gender and all of that, but I'm being honest, that's part of our story. So I have this last miscarriage. We have the immune protocol in place. We know we're going to transfer one of these last embryos. So I'm just waiting for that. I'm waiting for my period to start. That kicks off the cycle of the next transfer prep. My son's birthday was June 15th. June 16th, I take a pregnancy test and it's positive. And I was hysterical, not happy hysterical. I was devastated hysterical, because the first thing that went through my mind is I've just fucked this all up. Because after everything that I have been through, you don't expect good news. You don't expect it to work. I just assumed I'm going to have another miscarriage. I just pushed this timeline back even further. I went and told Rob. I sat on the couch in his office and I just cried. And I was so angry with myself. I was angry with myself because I'm like, I just fucked it all up. There was no thought in my mind that this would be successful. And I still don't know. I'm still holding my breath. But we went through all the motions. We went and did the betas, and we just started to get good news. And it was just like shocking because I couldn't believe it. Like the betas were so high. The betas were so strong. We went to the first ultrasound. The biggest blessing of this whole experience, and I can't wait till I can share more about this other clinic. I never had to step foot in that place again because of the way that everything panned out. I never, ever had to go back there. My previous fertility doctor was amazing and wonderful, and I wasn't even under her care anymore. And she agreed to do my betas. She did my first ultrasound where everything looked great. She said, you're cleared to go to the OBGYN. She said, if they won't do the scan as early as you want, you can come back here. It just all like unfolded amazingly. And sort of the best moments of my life have unfolded in the way when I've taken the pressure off, when I've been in surrender. And you get used to getting such bad news all the time that like you don't even understand, or I didn't even understand how to like take the good news in. So when we went to the OB, now this was the heartbeat, we have the heartbeat appointment. And then this was as far as I had gotten with any other pregnancy aside from my son. So this was kind of like, if we got through this was like the furthest we got along. So I had emailed the OBGYN ahead of time. I gave them all the history. I said, I'm going to be super anxious at this appointment. I just, want to give everybody a heads up on that. And they were absolutely wonderful. The doctor came in the room. She sat with me a little bit before. And then, I just got on the ultrasound table. I like closed my eyes. I grabbed Rob's hand. I held my breath, what felt like forever. And then all of a sudden the doctor goes, do you hear that? And it was the heartbeat. And I was just hysterical. I've been hysterical at every ultrasound, just like hysterical. And here we are almost at 5 months with everything looking good. Again, naturally pregnant at 44. And, I think about what it's going to be when I share more openly on social media or whatever. And what I think about saying is the person I give all the credit to is myself. And I have no qualms saying that. I am the one that made this happen. I pushed, I advocated, I researched. I did all of this. And I want everybody to know that it is so possible. And this is why I'm sharing it. And this is why I'm sharing so openly, is because we are told and we are dismissed and we're told this is the only way. And you can't because you're so old. And like, no one is listening to people saying like, it can happen still. My high risk OBGYN is so incredible. And she said to me, she's like, are women getting pregnant in their 40s? She goes, apps. She's like, all the freaking time. So I want people to know it is possible. I don't want you to give up. I know it's so hard. I know it's so difficult. I have so much grief to process still. But if this is something you really want, it's worth it. And it is so possible. I truly believe in the power of like healing our own bodies, mind-body connection. One thing I would go back and do differently is, this is so ridiculous to say as a therapist, but spend more time on my mental health, spend more time in being in acceptance and surrender and in gratitude and in trust. And really that's where I got. And I think that's why, of course, all the other things helped and the diet changes and the more toxic free life and all of that. But I think the final piece for me was like, when I was in surrender and when I gave it up to whoever you believe in, and I still pray every single day. And I have so much more to say on this. I want to share, I can't wait to share like all that I've learned. I can't wait to share all the ways I've navigated really difficult clinics and doctors and my own resources that I have found and sought out. But I really just hope that this is a spot of hope for people. You know, certainly I lost hope along the way. I never thought that I would be here. I never thought that I would be here in this way. And so many interesting things happened when I got pregnant, because my son is 4 and we didn't, you know, he's not in the know of what's been going on. And he started to say weird things like, and I was pregnant at this time, but he didn't know. We didn't tell him until I was 12 weeks. And he would start to say things like, he would pick out a shirt and he'd be like, I'm going to wear this shirt when I'm a big brother. I'm like, huh? And then he would say, I'm going to do this when the baby comes. No, I had no idea. The other thing that was really cool was I read this book, which I highly recommend, called Spirit Babies. And it's about this psychic who sees spirit babies, and the way that he sees their energy is green ovals. And my son's birthday was June 15th, and he's a big Ninja Turtle fan. And so we had decorated, you know, I decorated, Rob makes fun of me, the whole downstairs with like green balloons and all the stuff. And like 2 days after I took the pregnancy test, so the way our house is, like everything was like downstairs in the living room, and our master bedroom is upstairs. And I'm in my closet, and then I turn around, and again, this guy sees spirit babies as green ovals. I turn around and there's this balloon, green oval balloon, just floating in my room. And so all these weird things, just, I think too, because I was in surrender, I could notice like the energy and the things that were happening, whether you believe in that or not, I do. And the other thing, so with my son, I didn't find out the gender. Rob found out the gender. I didn't know. And this time around, it was really important for Rob to know. And I wanted to honor that. He's been a huge part of this journey. This is his story too, as much as it is mine. And we were going away to LBI with his family. I was 12 weeks. Everything had looked good. And so we decided the night before the trip to look at the gender. And I guess I'm going to share it here. I don't know. I didn't even think about that. But we sat in bed with the laptop and we pull up the results in the stupid portal. And I saw it first and it said compatible with male. And Rob lost it. Rob's like, he couldn't even breathe. And it was meant to be. Like, it was meant to unfold this way. I think something bigger than me, like, had the plan in place. And I really do believe, and I said this before in previous episodes, like, as painful as this journey has been, there's a purpose to it. I really believe it. I really believe that, I don't know, I was meant to go through this to pay it forward and to share and to advocate and to speak up, because I will tell you, this world, fertility world, is so broken. It is so broken. It is so dark. There are so many gaps, and that's kind of that's one silver lining I held on. The other is I have learned so much about my health, holistic health, functional medicine, all these things that I'm paying forward to my son. So I've kind of held on to those things throughout the entirety of this journey, this hellish journey. And I truly still can't believe I'm here. I still hold my breath every day. It is hard. I haven't shared with a lot of people, and I don't know, we're pushing this episode to way end of the season because I don't know when I'll share more publicly, but it's still nerve-wracking for me to share because I don't want to jinx it. I don't want anything to go wrong. But it's been a long road. There's still so much grief to process. Yeah. And I still, like, even sitting here talking about it, like, I don't have words. I can't even believe it. But I do hope, like, hearing my story, I will continue to share my story. I can continue to share more about my story, provides hope for other women, goes against these narratives that we're running out of time, or that we're too old, or you can't do it at this age. Like, the amount of fear and pressure that puts on women is so unfair. And I really want to be the spokesperson and the advocate to speak out against those narratives. So hopefully by the time this airs, I don't know when it will, but maybe my little boy will be here healthy. And thank you for listening. And I hope that this was helpful.
You guys, I do not get on a flight anymore without my Bombas compression socks. They are a travel staple for me, especially on longer flights. The socks help improve blood flow from your legs to your heart, which obviously is so essential. I just love these socks so much, and I want you guys to have an opportunity to check out these socks too. So use our code QTC20 for 20% off your first purchase of Bombas. Hey guys, I'm Beth. Thank you so much for tuning in to Quiet the Clock. If you want to hear more episodes and learn more about how to dismantle societal timelines, live life on your own terms, live life fully and authentically, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and you can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Quiet the Clock Pod. You guys, I'm really excited. We just created all this amazing merch. And so if you're loving the podcast and you want to support our cause and continue to hear amazing episodes, please support us by buying some merch. I am living in these sweatshirts every day. We have a range of colors. We have hoodies, we have mugs, we have hats, we have journals. We have all of the things, and I love having them on because it's just a reminder to quiet the clock, to slow down, to like let life unfold and be happy. So there's meaning and purpose behind wearing it too, which is a nice reminder. So check out our website, quiettheclock.com, to get your merch. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to give Quiet the Clock a follow. We are on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe. Please leave us a review. Continue to join us for conversations on how to rewrite your own timeline and live life on your own terms.